the sad truth is, you don't always see people paying the price for their very bad deeds. And this is, I'm talking, you know, it's more underground, salacious wrongs that go on, you know, against people's families and stuff. You wouldn't even see it as like as crime on the street. So that's what I'm supposed to do. Anyway, and you never really see justice for things that people do to, say, attack your family secretly, quietly, and long term. And you might be a person who doesn't even grow up with the idea of like family being that big of an issue, other than, you know, you pretty much like, you know, you're okay with your family, you know your family. So other people are still living in medieval times where they think they have to come in and crash certain families and in the long run figure out a way. It's like a game, like, oh, can I create a divorce here, divide and conquer, and then my kids will get all the money in the long run because I ran off with the husband? Or that is an actual thing, particularly of lower class people, thinking that thinking they're breaking up who they perceive other people as being higher class. They're the ones who see the world that way. I wouldn't necessarily think that, but this is what has actually happened. And they're like, oh, I can't believe he fell for her. He actually bought it. Now we can divide and conquer this family. And in the long run, because of the way we treat people, yeah, any will winners, if you will, of money in the long run will fall to the wayside. It's like a lifetime gamble, and people are willing to give it a whirl. And that's how some people see, a lot of people actually, who did the math over the years, see like a lot of divorce situations from the 60s, 70s, 80s. 80s, it really blossomed into a full-on regular practice. You know, I totally understand divorce. You know, if you wound up marrying and something weird happens and nobody likes each other any longer, it can be done, though. There are forces in the sky who can begin the divide and conquer invisibly, so that you're like freaked out by your, or there's abusive situations in which people need to flee. But there's also the age-old, oh, someone cuter came along who seems to, you know, who knows how, oh, I can step up again, a little social climber. Forget the husband of the past and the wife of the guy who looks a little bit more promising in terms of, there are people who just have satanic minds and they love dividing and conquer anything that looks pure or good or nice. They can't help themselves. They will always be mentally ill people. But society supported those people for some reason, kind of. So, and they're lucky enough to have had jobs that weren't that bad, so they got to stay in them, feed into Social Security or IRA or, you know, 401k or what have you. I think it's interesting it was 401k. I wonder how they came up with that number. I actually worked, when I first moved to Philadelphia, I actually worked in 401 North Broad, which is across from what used to be the Inquirer. Now it's headquarters for police, at least precinct 6 and 9, the medical examiner's office. And, you know, it's hard to see it as a police precinct or headquarters, since it was really the, I'm sorry, not National, but the Philadelphia Inquirer, or we just called it the Inquirer. And that was the newspaper for Philadelphia. So their offices are now down across from the FBI building and the federal courthouse on Market Street, right around 7th. So 6th, I guess the 600 block of Market.